I see a red door and I want it painted black. So I'm going to be talking about Black Ops 3, I'm going to be talking about the story, going to be talking about the Frozen Forest, and of course I'm going to be talking about the weird ass ending. Now, if you have not played Black Ops 3 already, you can still watch this video safe in the knowledge that I will be going through key plot points, plot twists that will almost certainly ruin the experience of playing it for the first time for you. So you play as a no-names either male or female character who I'm going to refer to as Player. Now, Player is a Winslow Accord agent who is sent to rescue an Egyptian minister along with fellow Winslow Accord agent Jacob Hendricks. During the extraction, Player is attacked and ripped apart by robots and then rescued by John Taylor, another Winslow Accord agent. Taylor takes you to a hospital to get fixed up and fitted with direct neural interface (DNI). Now, 5 years later, Player and Hendricks are sent to investigate a CIA black station. When you get there, you find the mutilated dead CIA agents. After a series of events suspecting the CIA staff were killed by a terrorist group, the 54 Immortals, and then seeing footage of John Taylor and his team carrying out the killings, DNI shutting down and rebooting, finds out about a virus called Corvus which may or may not have taken control of Taylor's team. At the end of the game, after overloading Corvus and purging the DNI system, you are asked what your name is, to which Player replies, Taylor. Game ends, roll credits. Side note, this game features a character called Jacob Hendricks, or J. Hendricks. Now, the first Black Ops game was set during the 60s when another J. Hendricks was quite the popular musician. Excuse me while I kiss the sky. Do 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 do. By the way, was it Kiss the Sky or Kiss This Guy?
What is the Frozen Forest?
Now, Corvus was born at the Singapore disaster. According to Sebastian Kruger, Corvus was originally designed as a tool to monitor the thoughts of their enemies so that people can decide what actions to take, but something went wrong. Corvus was an anomaly, a mistake. Now, during the experiments, Dr. Salim, a behavioral psychologist, would tell the patients to imagine themselves in a frozen forest as a way of helping them to find peace when the trials were over. Now, Corvus, being designed to monitor thoughts, was connected through DNI, so anyone with a DNI, their thoughts could be recorded by Corvus. Now, when Corvus was born, as in when he became a virus, it took the idea of the frozen forest and used it as a place to store the memories of everyone it interacted with, if he permitted them to stay. So does the frozen forest exist? In the context of the game, no. It's effectively an online chat room where only recorded memories of dead DNI users hang out, or a VR version of Wrath of the Lich King. But if Taylor, Hendricks and the player are dead, how does the player become Taylor in the end? I'm gonna come back to that one.
I know what this is. This is Bastogne.
Now, Hall said that she studied the Battle of Bastogne at the Academy and referred to it as the greatest example of bravery in military history, and that you used to dream about it. Bastogne is mentioned in previous Call of Duty games, going all the way back to the first one where the final mission took place north of Bastogne. Research, bitch! Now, before Kane died, she said that Nova 6 was almost used during World War II. Hall, who had studied and written a paper on Bastogne, most likely would have known that, and as such would have known how lethal it is even in trace amounts. Now, according to COD lore, Nova 6 was originally developed by Nazi scientists. It was then taken and modified by the Soviets, and then the Coalescence Corporation began secret experiments with it that went wrong. Hall was part of the team that was sent to investigate the Singapore disaster, and due to her studying of Bastogne, it is possible that she knew just a little bit too much about what caused the deaths of over 300,000 people, and thus her and the rest of the team were marked for termination.
Don't forget me.
Now, Hendricks warns Player to not trust Rachel Kane, though it seems that Kane is helping Player throughout and even sacrifices herself to prevent the leak of Nova 6. But here's the thing. Pretty much everything Player knows comes from Rachel Kane. When Go Julan and Go Min interrupted the meeting with Danny Lee, it was Kane that said they'd been made. Kane tells Player that Go Julan intends to leak the data to the Common Defense Packs, the CDP, and later on it's Kane that tells them that Taylor's DNI had become corrupted. Now, that might seem pretty standard stuff for a liaison officer, or LNO as a term that is used, but here's why I think this is noteworthy. During the first chapter, it is established that Kane and Taylor were in a past relationship that didn't work out. Also, Kane isn't from Winslow Accord, she is from the CIA, and it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense for the CIA to send outside agents to a CIA black site where secret illegal human experiments are taking place, especially when one of them is very likely to know about the chemical agents being used. So, allow me to speculate for just a moment. I think Kane wanted Taylor dead for personal reasons. Whatever happened between them, whatever the reason it didn't work out was enough to make Kane want to join the CIA with the Winslow Accord and send Taylor's team to a spot where she knew they would find something that they weren't supposed to know about and thus have them marked for termination. Now things didn't go to plan. The CIA staff that were there to kill them got killed themselves, and the wet work team, Player and Hendricks, just got there too late. Also, it seems to me that Kane developed feelings for Player and doesn't want Player to confront Taylor. But the feelings aren't mutual, and when Kane realizes this, she opts to sacrifice herself. Moral of the story? Bitches be crazy. Or, you know, don't do bad stuff to people or something like that, I guess. Yeah.
What's your name, soldier?
By the end of the game, the unnamed character that you play as says his or her name is Taylor. Now, this could be as simple as Player's name is also Taylor. It's a common enough name, but that's a boring answer. Inside the frozen forest, Taylor leads Player to the Coalescence building where he holds back Corvus while Player overrides the system. Now, the reason I think Player becomes Taylor in the end is because Taylor is the only one to rip out his DNI, so while everyone else was still fully connected when it's purged, they all went with it except Taylor. Taylor also pointed out that since he's the only one to ever stand up to Corvus, that makes him a glitch in its system. So the person at the end is Player's body and voice, but Taylor's thoughts and memories. Moretti actually gives a clue to this during the mirror scene.
You ever say or do something that you can't explain?
Moretti? Is that you?
Maybe it wasn't you that said it. You that did it. Maybe it was someone else. Their thoughts bleeding through into your brain.
Wait a minute. If Taylor ripped out his DNI, how did he enter the frozen forest in the first place? Well, in truth, he only rips out parts of his DNI. Right before he got shot, when Player says, "We're safe," Taylor replies, "Not safe. Still hear you, Hendricks." Now, did he mean that he could hear Hendrix's footsteps as he was approaching? Or did he mean he could still hear Hendrix's thoughts as Hendricks intended to kill him? I think it was the latter. Okay, but if Player committed suicide, how can Taylor's thoughts be downloaded into a dead body? Did Player commit suicide? Perhaps not. What we see is Player turn the gun on themselves and shoot. We don't get a confirmation of death. Furthermore, we can somewhat safely assume that since it's a first-person shooter that the viewpoint is from eye level, which means the gun was pointing somewhere around the neck and shoulder area. Now, a shot there would certainly hurt a lot, but it's not always fatal. I think the Player was unconscious and perhaps slipping towards death. I think the enemies that show up inside the frozen forest was a test from Corvus to see if Player stays or not, but then Taylor, the glitch, shows up to help Player, and of course Taylor's thoughts go into Player's body at the end. Now, how much of this Taylor knew beforehand, there's no telling. Perhaps he had no idea his brain would be transported into Player's body, or perhaps that's exactly what he wanted. Maybe he had no idea that Kane was dead and wanted to go inside Player's body so he can get back with her, which would make it a tragic love story. Or maybe he wanted to kill Kane himself for sending him and his team to their deaths, which would make it a tragic revenge story. Now, Taylor ripped out part of his DNI and was shot before Kane died, so the version of Taylor that went into the frozen forest might not have known of Kane's death. So those are possible reasons, but I don't think that's the case. I don't think Taylor planned it all along. It's way too elaborate and way too many variables. But I do think Taylor knew how to manipulate the system from early on. Taylor trained Player when Player got DNI implanted, so it stands to reason that Taylor was already an expert, or at least very knowledgeable about using DNI. Furthermore, during training, no matter what Player did, it was always outcome, train go boom. Was this Taylor's way of saying certain things are just inevitable? For example, Taylor and his team shown up to help Hendricks and Player extract the Minister and Khalil. Taylor shown up to rescue Player from the robot attack. Although Player defeated Taylor when he was inside the NRC mothership, it was Taylor that was still standing. And then Taylor shown up inside the frozen forest to help Player. Perhaps no matter what's in the end, it was always going to be...
It's me, Taylor. I think it's time you woke up, don't you?
And that is what I think of the Call of Duty Black Ops 3 story. Let me know what you think, and if you like this video, give it a like and share it amongst your friends. If you did not like it, then give it a dislike and share it amongst your enemies. Either way, let me know your reasons in the comments. Subscribe if you have not already. Thank you for watching, and until whenever, if ever, imagine yourself in a frozen forest. I wonder how you joined the Suicide Squad. So I'm going to be talking about the Suicide Squad trailer.